Good evening, everyone. Ads here from Unity Trading Group. Welcome to your Wednesday night update. It is good to be back after handing the reins over to my partner in crime, Tex. Last night I was out for a birthday, my brother's birthday actually. Happy birthday, mate, if you're watching. But of course, before we start, hit the like button, subscribe if you can, and of course, tick the little bell if you want to stay updated on all of our future content. We have been speaking about Gravy Train over the last couple of episodes or last couple of updates, and it's been the topic of discussion in the Discord as well. Now, Gravy Train, if you are watching us for the first time or I've only joined us today, of course, it's an indicator that we've spent about 19 months at this point developing, and it is a fantastic indicator for, observing trends and of course looking at levels where you could buy and sell the asset that you're trading. It works on all time frames, and it works on pretty much every asset that I have thrown at it, whether it be crypto, forex, or stock. So a very, very versatile indicator, and I use it personally in conjunction with my levels of demand and of course my levels of supply, and you can see how it lines up quite well with those levels, those subsequent levels that I've drawn in. So we are observing our second sell signal for BTC right now, and we are getting caught on that cloud very, very nicely at the moment. Lining up as well with our level of supply. So this level of supply I've left in after we had that fiasco with Elon Musk. Of course, we pushed from 33 all the way back down to 33. So not a great deal of, a lot of volatility, but not a great deal of price action to really confirm anything in particular. And I wouldn't be calling this a higher high or anything like that because of the return to the mean quite swiftly. Right now, however, it's a little bit of a different story where we have moved towards our level of supply and of course been rejected at this 37K level now. So it's going to be an interesting one over the course of the next couple of hours. But if we are to push through this level of supply, I'd be looking towards this 39K and of course our 40K level of supply up the top. And if we are to confirm Gravy Train's, sell signal, for example, if we are to get some further movement to the downside, I'd be looking towards that 33.9, around that 50 Fibonacci for the BTC chart currently. Excuse me. So what I'm observing now is a point that we need to give it a little bit more time to see if we are going to push through this level of supply, and if this slight uptrend that we're observing over the course of the last day or so is going to continue. We will be looking at some other pairs as well that I really want to look towards tonight. The first of which being the BTC dominance chart. So the BTC dominance chart, I'll zoom out on the daily, and we haven't looked at this for quite some time. So I'm just going to nip up this chart a little bit, and I'm going to fix up some of these targets that I've drawn in, and looking like we are at this 62.11 area for the dominance chart. Now, why am I bringing this to you guys' attention? Well, the dominance chart really gauges, it's a fantastic indicator or a fantastic gauge to really give us an idea of the alt strength. So the BTC alts, the alts in general. Where is the money flowing from? Is it flowing out of BTC? Is it flowing into BTC? Now, as the dominance chart falls, so as we come down, you're looking at money flowing into the altcoins. Of course, BTC's dominance is dropping, so the market cap in general is restructuring itself, of course, and money's flowing out of BTC and into the alts. The fact that we are at a level of demand here that's been tested once before, and these levels, this is very sporadic movement and a lot of wickage, so I'm not taking into account the wicks so much, but it is one to look for because Steamroller in general has been quite accurate to really gauge the fact of, are we going to have a reversal or are we going to continue to the downside? You need to keep this on your radar, because if you are heavily in altcoins at the moment and we do get a substantial bounce towards the upside for the BTC dominance chart, it's going to strip some of those altcoins dry, and they're going to come crashing down. So we need to really keep that in mind. I've got 2 levels of supply that we could possibly look at for a bounce, going from 62 to 65%, and of course 62 to 69% would be the areas that I'd look for a bounce on the BTC dominance chart. But in any case, we need to observe this. This is not gospel by any means, but we need to keep it on our radars, and you need to chart it up if you haven't done so already. If you actively trade altcoins, whether they are BTC pairs or, like me personally, USD pairs. You need to keep this in mind. If we throw gravy train over the top, we are still quite bearish. If I slim it down to the 4 hour, it tells a little bit of a better story in the way of the price action, because we have been short, or we have been looking at a downtrend for quite some time, and now we are in the gray zone. The gray zone is one of 2 things. It can be represented by an area of indecision, or it can be represented as an area of reversal. So it could be a change of this overall direction to the downside. That's what the gray area is really saying. So that's what we need to keep in mind for the dominance chart, just in general. Because I am actively trading altcoins, whether it be BTC or USD pairs. I'm always keeping this on my radar. Whether or not I'm charting it up using gravy train, using steamroller, I am keeping it on my radar. And of course, if we do get a violent or any significant movement to the upside, I will be scaling out of a lot of my open positions. But moving on, Ethereum, USD. So something that Ty, I believe, looked at last night during the update for Tuesday, and we have moved towards the upside now, pushing through that level of supply, and not surprising, because we did eat up most of this zone prior to us making the zone just to the left here. So that area was weakened. We were getting a ascending triangle formation, and of course the eventual movement out of this ascending triangle is usually to the upside. And of course that negative 27, which I think I spoke about on Monday night anyway, did come to fruition at 1583. So we are seeing steamroller become quite overbought at this time, and of course we are observing some of these indicators, especially the CCI, giving us a little bit of a bearish divergence there as price moves up and the indicators move to the right hand side, or give us a double top scenario there. So a movement towards the downside, especially towards just the previous high, I think at 1442 is probably realistic to say. A relentless move to the upside isn't really something I would expect, but it is crypto, hey. Of course, if we are to see this move, I'll be looking at this negative 6-1 extension. And if we are to move to the upside, I'd probably swiftly look at the trend-based fib extension tool, and you can find the some videos about the trend-based fib extension down below in our channel. So hit our channel and you can find those videos. I think it's one of the most recent videos we did, admittedly, so you can find that information down below. So that's it for excuse me, Ethereum. But a couple of requests that I had over the course of yesterday and yesterday's update was ADA and DOT. So we'll have a quick look at LTC and then we'll have a look at those two. So with LTC, we did get a descending wedge, and that has played out. I'll actually leave that on the chart for now. But looking like 160 is going to be on the cards for LTC if we can continue this movement to the upside. We'll have a quick look and see what GT says. So GT, we're yet to break out of the gray zone. So it is a little bit of indecisive movement. It could be a reversal for this trend that we're observing now towards the downside. However, we need to break out of this cloud and towards that 160 mark. So it really displays how decent or how good gravy train can be, because when we do break out of the zone, as we did something like this, you can come back, look at the pullback, and then move to the upside, and it'll give you a decent idea on when you should be selling or stopping your position where it says stop long just over the top there. So good tool to have in your arsenal, and be sure to watch out for all the new content that's coming out in regards to GT. But in any case, looking towards that 61.8 for LTC, and of course that level at 164 or 162 roughly for our level of supply is on the cards for me, providing we get a hold of that 50 Fibonacci level that we're sitting on currently. But moving on, ADA USDT or USD is one that I usually chart up. We've got our Fibonacci levels, but what I'll do, I'll get rid of this and I'll draw in some more levels that we can really look towards. So ADA doesn't have much chart on this, so let's see if we can have a look at a little bit more. Let's go Bittrex, see if we've got any more data. We don't. Okay, let's go back. We'll stay on Binance. So looking like all-time high on Binance for the USD chart. Currently, I think the BTC chart's got way more data anyway, but doesn't matter. We'll have a look and see where we can expect this to go. So we're seeing this top here. We're seeing our swing low. So what we can look at that fib retracement. Let's go from the swing low to swing high and see where we can expect ADA. So ADA looking like we are quite overbought as well. Looking like that on the RSI and CCI indicator also. We are trending above the 50, so we're looking for pullbacks at the moment for ADA, and I'd be looking towards that 38.2, 39 cents, and of course the 50.61 if we're lucky at 37 and 36 currently. And looks like by the looks of the price action, we might get to the 38 at 39.8, 39 cents and 8. So it could be one to look for. You have to excuse my hay fever, seriously. It's been pretty bad over the course of the last week or two, so I do apologize. But moving on, enough excuses from me. Looking at dot USD or dot USDT is the one I usually look at, and on Binance I've already got it charted up because it's one that I do look at quite regularly in my personal time. But this level of demand was one that I was looking at. Of course, we did move through it early, but I didn't really see the need to remove it because of this week. But we did have two more touches, one on the 27th of Jan and one very recently on the 1st of February. And I'd be looking towards the next level, which is around that $18 mark, 18.5 for DOT. And that would net you from level of demand to supply 19%. Not a bad swing if you ask me, but looking like we could move there. If we're looking at a lower time frame, because this is a lower time frame type deal, for this gravy train staying along on the 1 hour time frame. So not a bad move for DOT, and I'll be keeping this one on my radar. But the last one I have a look at tonight is the Forex chart. So the DXY is a regulated market, and it is not financial advice, just ideas and opinions of Team UTG. I do remember on Monday, I did have a reluctance to really call which direction we'd move in. Personally, on the 4 hour chart we're looking like with this expanding wedge is continuing, because if I draw this up a little bit more, we are continuing that expanding wedge. But we were around this 38.2, this 90.6 area for the DXY. I didn't really want to call any sort of direction because it wasn't too clear, but one thing I did say was a movement towards that supply would be something I would be looking towards, and of course we did continue this movement in the way of this expanding wedge, and we did push through this level. So if we are to get our pullback back down below, and of course, you know, even possibly test the bottom of the wedge, we could see this 91.5 level of resistance that we've got drawn in. Old-fashioned resistance, of course, but we do have a support resistance flip to the left-hand side that I was looking towards, and that could be the next level that we test with the level, or with the DXY in general. So looking towards that level as we've broken through the level of supply. Rules of supply and demand say we usually get a pullback, and of course a movement to the upside. So 91.5 would be on my radar for that. But that really concludes our update. A little bit longer tonight. Looked at a couple of more requests that we had. Of course, keep in mind that we've got Gravy Train coming very soon. If you want to stay updated on that, obviously subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord with the link below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.